Chapter 4. A Broken Reflection. The weight of everything felt unbearable as I sat alone, pen trembling in my hand, trying to make sense of the chaos that had overtaken my life. This isn't just a story, it's my truth, a terrifying, raw, and unfiltered truth about love, betrayal, and a justice system that feels rigged against people like me. It's not a joke, it's my reality. It all started with what seemed like love. He was charming, attentive, and swept me off my feet. We went everywhere together, shared moments that felt real, and built what I thought was a bond no one could break. I gave him everything, my trust, my heart, my loyalty. But I didn't know I was being used, that the love I thought we shared was a mask, hiding manipulation, lies, and darkness. When he disappeared without warning, I was confused and worried. I tried to reach out, to understand what went wrong. Instead, I was met with accusations, things I knew I could never do, things he knew I would never do. But that didn't matter. The law didn't care. It didn't care about my innocence, my character, or my truth. It didn't care that I was a black man in a country that preaches fairness but delivers none. All it saw was my skin color. This is supposed to be a fair country, but let's be honest, we're still divided. Racism runs deep, and the fear it breeds leaves people like me looking over our shoulders every second of every day. I gave my all to a white man, to his white family, a family that I didn't know hated me so much until it was too late. His mother, his grandmother, the people around them, they all played their part in tearing me down. And in the end, I was the one with charges against me. I loved him. I loved his family, despite their flaws, despite their hate. I tried to help him through his struggles, his depression, his threats, his addictions. He talked about hurting others, hurting himself. He smoked, he drank, he acted like he didn't care about anyone or anything, and I believed I could save him. I thought my love would be enough. I see now that I was wrong. He didn't care about me. Maybe he never did. I didn't realize the danger I was in until it was too late. People at church said those who are angry and broken are dangerous to be around. But how are we supposed to love the broken if we're told to stay away from them? How are we supposed to make the world better if we don't care for each other? The police, the law, they didn't care about me either. When I was arrested, I was treated like I didn't matter, like my life was worth nothing. I was the victim, yet I was the one in jail. The trauma of that night, of that betrayal, haunts me. I can't even drive without fearing for my life when a police car is behind me. I am scared. I am tired. And I am broken. This isn't just about one person or one relationship. It's about the system, the country, the way we live. It's about how mental health is ignored, how racism is ignored, how people like me are left to suffer while those with power manipulate and destroy. His mother worked for the state of California, yet she used her position to manipulate others, to lie, to destroy. She even bragged about using black magic to get her boss fired. She's evil, and she raised her son to be just like her. I gave everything I had to that family, to him, and they tore me apart. They called me crazy, said I needed therapy, all because I loved and trusted someone who didn't deserve it. But I'm not crazy. I'm human. I made mistakes. But my biggest mistake was believing in a love that wasn't real. Even now, after everything, I still find myself caring. I pray for him, for his family, for the people who hurt me. But I also pray for change, for a world where people like me don't have to live in fear, where mental health matters, where justice is truly just. This is my story, my truth. I'm not proud to be an American. I'm not proud of this country, this state, this system. But I'm still here, still fighting, still hoping for a better tomorrow. Even if no one else cares, I care. And maybe that's enough to keep going. Chapter 3. Grace in the Storm. The day after the shocking revelation, I decided to confront him. I couldn't shake the pain of his confession to my friend, that he had only used me, both for our friendship and our relationship. Deep down, I didn't believe it. I told myself he said it out of anger, a reflection of his own turmoil rather than his truth. Still, it haunted me. I drove to his job the next day. I had given him money as part of his Christmas gift, one $50 bill and two $20 bills. With trembling hands, I asked for it back, no longer seeing it as a gift, but as a piece of myself that I needed to reclaim. When he handed me the money, I impulsively snatched it from his hand, my emotions overriding any semblance of calm. Later, I realized I'd only taken part of it, one $50 bill, leaving the 20s behind. He accused me of assault. Assault? I was stunned. I hadn't laid a finger on him. I only took back what was mine. But that moment planted seeds of trauma, sleepless nights, uncontrollable tears, and nightmares of betrayal. Days later, I reached a breaking point. Our dog, Winter, symbolized everything we had built together. The love, the dreams, the partnership that had once seemed so perfect. But now, Winter was a reminder of what I'd lost, and the pain was unbearable. I decided to leave her with him. It wasn't fair to her, I knew, but my mental health couldn't handle the constant reminders. I tied her leash to his car mirror, knocked on his door, and told him she was his now. As I walked away, guilt clawed at me. Winter deserved better. Realizing I'd left her without food, I grabbed the 14-pound bag of dog food I had at home and returned to his place. That's when I encountered the neighbor, a man who had always been a thorn in our relationship. He saw Winter tied up and immediately began shouting at me, accusing me of animal cruelty. His words were like daggers, but I held my ground, telling him to stay out of my business. This was between me and my partner, no one else. But his yelling escalated, and he threatened me, making it clear I wasn't welcome there. Shaking with fear and anger, I left, knowing this wasn't over. I still had a few of my ex's belongings, so I decided to return them. Hoping to avoid confrontation, I stayed silent as I approached his car, but the neighbor and his friends were outside, watching, waiting. The tension was suffocating. I tossed his video game towards his car and turned to leave, but chaos erupted. They chased me, yelling threats, and I was overwhelmed by fear. My ex, the man I had loved so deeply, stood with them, recording my humiliation. He didn't defend me. He didn't stop them. He joined them. Panicking, I jumped into my car and sped away. My hands shook as I gripped the wheel, tears blurring my vision. I accidentally clipped their apartment complex gate in my rush to escape. My tire blew out, but I kept driving, terrified of what might happen if I stopped. My mind raced with questions. Why is this happening? Why is my life falling apart? I didn't see the Jeep until it was too late. The crash was violent, sending me spinning into the middle of the street. As I stumbled out of my car, the driver of the Jeep approached, yelling. I raised my hands, pleading, "I would never hurt you. You've done nothing wrong. I don't believe in violence." But inside, I was unraveling. The weight of everything crushed me, and for a fleeting moment I thought about ending it all. The train tracks were nearby, the sound of an oncoming train growing louder. I ran toward them, desperate for an escape. But something stopped me. Maybe it was God, or maybe it was the faint hope that things could get better. I turned away. Minutes later, the police arrived. They arrested me, citing the damage to the gate and the accusations my ex had made against me. Sitting in that cold, sterile cell, I felt the depth of my despair. The officers laughed as I cried, completely breaking down. I didn't know what would happen to me. My mother, my friends, even strangers called to check on me, but nothing could penetrate the darkness I felt. Eventually, I was taken to the hospital for the injuries I'd sustained in the car accident. My neck and back throbbed with pain, a physical manifestation of the emotional agony I'd been carrying. When I returned to the jail, a guard handed me a restraining order, my ex's name scrawled across it. I collapsed, sobbing uncontrollably. "Why, God?" I whispered. "Why?" Despite everything, I forgave him. I forgave his mother, his friends, the neighbor. Not because they deserved it,
but because I refused to let bitterness consume me. Love was still in my heart, even for those who had hurt me. This chapter of my life felt like a nightmare, but I knew it wasn't the end. God had been with me through it all, through the betrayal, the fear, the pain. He gave me the strength to endure, to forgive, to keep moving forward. And as I sat in that cell, I realized something. I am not alone. And
Chapter 2. Falling Deeper. I was so in love with a job that I was working at called ARC in North Hollywood. It wasn't just the job. It was the freedom, the creativity, the sense of purpose it gave me. For the first time in a while, I felt like I was truly building something for myself. I even told my best friend from college, someone who hadn't been working at the time, about it. He seemed happy for me at first, but over time, I could sense something was off. Maybe it was jealousy, maybe frustration with his own circumstances. I wasn't sure. He started to make excuses for why he wasn't getting his life together. I didn't sleep last night. I need to smoke before work. I can't make it today. He complained constantly about the job he'd eventually found. And even though his negativity drained me, I did everything in my power to help him get on his feet. I thought, if I support him now, maybe he'll stand beside me later. But that support came at a cost. He called out of work so many times I lost count, and every time he dragged me into his schemes. He asked me to call out of work too. Just this once, he'd say, so I could drive him to Kaiser Permanente to get a doctor's note. That once turned into 15 or 20 times. I would sit there, lying for him, pretending his stomach hurt or his head was spinning, making excuses to save his job while mine started slipping through my fingers. Still, I stayed. There were good times, too. Nights when we'd go out and laugh until it felt like the world didn't matter. We even got a dog together as friends before things turned romantic. But even in those moments, there were cracks. His temper on the road terrified me. On a trip to Santa Barbara, he got cut off by another driver and started chasing them, slamming on his brakes while I begged him to stop. "You're scaring me," I'd say, but he wouldn't listen. It felt like he wasn't thinking about me, the dog, or anyone else, just his anger. I stayed because I loved him. I loved the moments he made me feel special, the grand gestures, the nights we stayed up talking. I thought if I held on long enough, things would get better, but they didn't. One night, after a fight, he blocked me. I didn't know what I'd done wrong, but I needed answers. I sat outside his job for 4 hours, waiting just to see him, to figure out where we went wrong. When he finally came out, we talked, and for a moment, it felt like we could fix things. We hugged, and I gave him a Christmas gift I'd been holding on to, but the very next day, I learned the truth. Through a mutual friend, I overheard him admit that he'd been using me, both as a friend and a partner. He didn't know I was on the call. Hearing those words shattered something in me. Chapter: Torn Between Love and Chaos. The day I met him, everything felt like fate, like we were meant to walk this path together. What started as friendship blossomed into a bond deeper than anything I'd ever known. He became my best friend, my safe place, and eventually, my partner. I believed we were unbreakable, two people building something beautiful out of mutual love and trust. But there was always a shadow lingering, his mother. At first I didn't see it. She seemed kind, supportive even. She would invite me into her home, share her thoughts, and cry on my shoulder. We talked about life, pain, and dreams. I trusted her, believed she was my friend. But the closer I grew to her son, the more her demeanor changed. She became manipulative, overbearing, and controlling. Her words, once warm, turned cold and cutting. She found ways to insert herself into every corner of our lives. At first, I didn't understand. Why would someone who seemed so supportive suddenly act this way? But the more I observed, the more I realized she wasn't losing her son to me. She believed she was losing control. When my partner moved in with me, it felt like the beginning of something incredible, but it was short-lived. She began stalking our home, hurling insults, and manipulating the situation to make me the villain. At the same time, my partner began to change. His once joyful demeanor was replaced with mood swings and confusion. I felt like I was losing him, piece by piece. I tried to hold on to him, to remind him of the love and memories we shared. But the weight of his mother's manipulation was crushing. She spread lies, turned neighbors against me, and poisoned his mind. I started questioning everything, myself, my worth, even my sanity. When he returned to her home, everything unraveled. He ghosted me, blocked me, and shut me out completely. The person who had once been my safe place was now a stranger, and his mother? She made sure I knew she was in control. Every day since then has been a struggle. I wake up expecting him beside me, only to be greeted by the emptiness of my room. I replay our memories, questioning what went wrong. I cry until I can't cry anymore, but the pain never leaves. I've tried everything, therapy, prayer, even reaching out to him, but nothing works. People call me crazy, a stalker, but all I ever wanted was to love him and be loved in return. I've lost my job, my home, my friends, and even my sense of self. It feels like everything I built was taken away, brick by forces I couldn't control. But the hardest part isn't the loss. It's the questions that haunt me. Did he ever love me? Was it real? And if it was, how could it all fall apart so quickly? I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if I'll ever find closure or if he'll come back even as a friend. But I do know this. I loved him with everything I had, even when it hurt. And despite everything, I still do.
From the day I was born, I felt cursed in the womb. Never thought love would ever find room. Foster mom said I'd never be anything. Her words still cut, sharper than a sting. Alone in the shadows, clinging to the pain. Searching for warmth, but finding cold rain. I gave my heart to people who just used me. Abused me, broke me, left me empty. I've been screaming in silence, trapped in my mind, trying to escape the hurt that I find. Even when I fought, the scars stayed deep. Whispers of her words haunt me in my sleep. Please come home, I need you near. Through the darkness you made things clear. Even when the world told me I'd never be loved, you showed me light, now it's gone above. Come home, my heart still beats for you. Through the lies and the pain, my love's still true. College days brought a glimpse of hope. A friend turned love, my heart learned to cope. Behind closed doors, you held me tight. Made me feel I belonged, made the dark seem light. But then you ghosted, left me in despair. Now I'm lost, crying prayers into thin air. They say you used me, but I can't believe the love we shared. I refuse to grieve. Drove to your job just to see your face, begging for answers, caught in this chase. You hugged me once, said you'd talk later. Now I'm stuck, drowning in pain that's greater. Oh, please come home, I need you near. Through the darkness you made things clear. Even when the world told me I'd never be loved, you showed me light, now it's gone above. Come home, my heart still beats for you. Through the lies and the pain, my love's still true. Your mom's words don't know our truth. She can't see the love we built in our youth. I'm sorry for the wrongs, the things I couldn't see, but you know my soul, you know the real me. Life's too short for this pain we hold. I forgive our love, I'll never grow cold. Even if the world tries to tear us apart, you'll forever live inside my heart. Oh, please come home, I need you near. Through the darkness you made things clear. Even when the world told me I'd never be loved, you showed me light, now it's gone above. Come home, my heart still beats for you. Through the lies and the pain, my love's still true. To you, I'll whisper this final plea. Wherever you are, please come back to me. I'll wait forever, no matter how long. You're my safe place, my heart song. Come home, just come home. I'm lost without you. in this world alone. Oh, I love you, Nicholas Andrew Hopkins, and I always will.
Oh, this is real. There's more to come, guys. Stay tuned.